Welcome to How to Be a Humane Leader Without Losing Your Job. We're here to chat about humane leadership in a way that's real and relatable, tackling work-life challenges, and offering practical advice to navigate tough decisions. Whether you're leading a team or navigating your own career, we got you covered. I'm Roberto Torres, a startup engineering leader, and with me is Chris Ollerton, a Fortune 100 IT leader. We'll dive into the real world stuff, share experiences and offer guidance or leading with compassion while keeping your career on track. Today, we will discuss how to pursue influencers to motivate team beyond monetary rewards. Good morning, Chris. How are
Good
you?
morning. Yes, persuading team members to go beyond monetary rewards. This is going to be an interesting discussion, Roberto, because I think I'm going to be anti-humane leader a little bit. So we'll see how you can motivate me to go beyond our reward system.
I know this is a tough topic, but we're up to tough topics and we like it. So let's bring it up.
And it's good that we don't always agree on things. So this is a very interesting setup that you want to discuss. So just to lay some things out for the audience to be clear, this is in a situation where a team has influencers in it, right? So there's a hierarchy, an org chart, but all these peers, some of them are highly influential to the rest of the team. So this is a key aspect to the discussion. And then the other thing the audience needs to understand is that there are monetary rewards. So if we make 10,000 widgets, we get a little bonus. If we make 20,000 widgets, we get another bonus. If we make 30,000 widgets, we get another bonus. If we make 35,000 widgets, we don't get anything. If we make 40,000, we don't get anything. If we get 50,000, we don't get anything. So there's rewards that grow, but the company basically has a ceiling to when the rewards for higher and higher performance end. Is that correct?
Uh, yeah, kind of. But when you reach 35,000, you receive the bonus of the 30,000. It's not that you don't receive anything. If you reach 50,000, you will receive what was the bonus of the 30,000, at least because otherwise you wouldn't be doing more.
Right. But I mean, yes, you made 50,000, you got the bonus for 30, but I didn't get the 30 bonus and an extra bonus for 50,
Yeah,
right? Right.
yeah, I
So
agree.
I think I'll just do the work to get my 30,000 bonus, and I'll just sit back in my chair here and relax and let the humane leader convince me that I'm going to do more. Boy, I'm looking
No,
forward to this.
yes, yes. And that's why this is a tough choice, excuse me, a tough topic. Yes, for a leader and a human leader, we understand the traits of a business. We understand that if the business are thriving, it is thriving, well, we're going to be good. If if the business is in a rocky side, well, we had to worry and make something for the business to rise. So we understand this because we have the business information that maybe our team doesn't have or doesn't require to have. So that is the point over here. We know information that they don't require to know, but we have our goals given probably by our manager, or maybe we have to reach um, those KPIs or those OKRs. And the lower levels of the company doesn't require to know or they don't give a damn about it. So we had to motivate. Yeah.
Yep. So I'm still not doing more than 30,000 widgets. You didn't motivate me still.
No, no. This is an example. Okay, great. Um, okay, Chris. I know you have an influence with other team members, and I like it. Your voice has a powerful influence towards other team members. Why wouldn't you like to motivate the rest of the team?
Well, I enjoy my teammates and I enjoy working with them, but I don't see where I see that the company's going to benefit if I do 50,000 widgets, but I only get paid a little bit more once I reach 30. There's no financial reason for me to work harder or get my peers in the team who are my friends to work extra hard and do things because we're not going to get any money for that.
All right, I totally understand, but let's put out this example. What happened if we didn't receive any bonus? Would you work the same as hard as you did today?
I would work for whatever the job requirements say. So if the job requires that I make to get my pay 20,000 widgets, I'm going to make 20. Not
Okay.
21, not 25, not 50, 20, because that's all
Okay.
I'm getting paid to do.
Yeah, and I understand that. Why would you work more instead of only working what is needed? But the company right now is in a good sense, and company to give more money based on your work. But you had to see, maybe you don't realize, but there is a ceiling because there is no there are some constraints within the business that they cannot give more money. Now I will tell you about it. What you do is operation, but there is some administrative and management work that has to be done. And if the company gives higher bonus, what it will do is that rather than having a profit, it will have a loss. That's why it reaches the highest ceiling. If you see it this way, if the company provides not provides if the company reaches a certain level of profitness, what it will happen is that there will be the opportunity and the space of having salary rises for the future. Otherwise, it will be there won't be these kind of situations, but there could be maybe layoffs. So if we provide more, we have more for ourselves. I think it's more about not only what you could do, but what we could do as a team. What do you think?
Well, I mean I enjoy working here. I've been working here a long time, but you know, I've seen that other people have quit and gone to other jobs and you got promoted. You're now our team leader. You were working right beside me before, but now you're the team leader. But I'm not really interested in getting promoted. I don't want to take your job in the future. That's not what I want to do.
I think that's understandable, but what about the perks that you have right now that in other companies they don't? For instance, yourself and the rest of your teams live in different cities, which are different from the one that we work. So the company leases an apartment for you and the rest of the teams to be during the work week, and in the weekends you go to your homes in other cities. Other companies doesn't provide this. Have you seen this? Do you feel good
Yep,
about it?
and I think about my total compensation. I'm not a manager, so I'm not into the economics of the company directly. I mean, I don't know the financial goals. I don't know how profitable or unprofitable we are. What I know is here's my paycheck. They give me this apartment. It's part of what I consider my compensation. And I work hard. I do my job as it's described. I perform all the things that are required of me. But it's this going above and beyond where the rewards stop. There's a certain amount of bonus that I earn for doing a certain amount of work. If I do some extra work, I get a little more bonus. If I do a little more extra work on top of that, I get a little more bonus. And I'm primarily motivated by what that money buys me for when I go home on the weekend. But if I only earn a bonus up to a certain amount of work, I'm still, I'm helping the company succeed. I'm doing my job, but I don't really see the need for me to work double hard and not receive any direct reward. Yeah, I agree. If the company went bankrupt, I'd lose my job and that would be terrible. But I'm kind of a short-term focused guy. I'm not looking for my career necessarily even be here 35 years. I've been here 10. I'd like to be here another 10, but if I have to go someplace else that doesn't have an apartment, yeah, I will keep that in mind, and I might have to try and negotiate more pay if they don't pay for an apartment. But, it's hard to see the benefit to me directly to work harder.
There is a phrase that says you don't know what you got till it's gone. So you're telling right now that you don't mind losing the apartment until you lost it. You say you don't mind losing your job until you lose it. So keep in mind that the company, it is not a benefit organization. The company is looking for having bigger revenue, higher profits. If we don't reach those numbers, we're going to be out. And you might say today, hey, I like what I want, what I have right now. I could go other place, other company. But those companies doesn't provide the perks that you have right now. So either you are motivated to do more, or if the company, for the time being, decides that it's going in another direction, that will affect you and other people. And how would you feel if your decision spreads among your team members? Are you deciding for your team members to do more or less or the same? Because that responsibility is something that very people could bear. If you're saying that you're a leader among your teams, and you could have maybe something more in the future that could be negotiated with the company, you had to give more. And for that, do you know how Japanese people, workforce, go on a strike?
Mm.
It's different from this continent or this side of the ocean. What they do is they work higher. If they had to create 30,000 widgets, they go for 60,000 or for 100,000 widgets. Why? Because they know that the commercial branch of the company cannot sell all those. So the company will get higher stock that they could not sell. And I'm talking about widgets, but what about marmalades or hamburgers or something like that? It will rot. So that is the Japanese. We have a different mindset. So if you want to be only working to the stuff that you're receiving, you might not get it. And as I mentioned before, you don't know what you got till it's gone. So why don't we get together and work towards a higher level?
Well, that is an interesting concept, but I'm getting paid hourly, and that bonus that I get for each time we produce more is a big part of my paycheck. And I'm just struggling with it goes up and up and up, and then it just stops. And to produce more than that seems like a reward to the company and to all the bosses above me. but not really any benefit to me other than the company will exist for another year. And that's all good. That's wholesome thinking, but I'm really sorry. If you had a bonus then for the 50,000 level, then I might try and work harder to get to the 50,000 level. But since it stops at 30,000, I'm really struggling to see any benefit to me other than the long-term ones. You're correct. There is a long-term benefit to getting to the 40,000 or 50,000 because the company will be here and continue to pay me next month. But, I'm kind of short-sighted guy. That's just who I am. And I do bear some responsibility for my team members. They're my friends, and I know that they listen to how I think about things. But I'm also, a capitalist, and pay me for what I do. And if once I reach a certain level, you don't pay me more for that, I'm struggling to see tangible, immediate benefits to me. The long-term ones, I'll acknowledge. And I certainly would share that with the team, that helping the company survive is best for our long-term benefit so that we can be here and work until the day we want to retire. But the reward system that the company's developed has got a flaw. And I'm smart enough to see the flaw in the reward system. I would recommend that the Humane leader is going to need to think about the economics of that reward system. And maybe the company needs to have a little bit of bonus at 40 and a little bit of bonus at 52. Maybe it can't be as much as the bonus at 25 and 30, but there's many systems, government systems primarily, where they have this kind of cliff effect, where you give bonuses up until a certain amount of income, or you give people assistance until they reach a certain income level, but it all goes away if they go $1 more. So then they never earn $1 more, because that $1 more that they produced for earnings, they lose $10,000 in benefits. So they stop right below the limit.
Well, that's a limited way of seeing things, Trace, because you're mentioning that it has a flaw, but a coin has two sides, and you're
Mm-hmm.
only watching you from your side. You're not looking from the other side.
Correct.
Would you watching the other side of the coin maybe made you realize that there is not a flaw, that the economics of this, every time that we sell a widget, well, it pays our salaries, operations, white shirt, white collar, blue collar, expenses, etc. Would you make you feel different? Because I think that it's so awesome to look at the other side of the coin where you don't see both sides. Would would that help?
I think it can help me understand how my effort is being used in the company. It might help. It may help me understand the longer term benefits. I think the hardest thing for you to convince me and to convince my teammates is that for the most part, we're very short term thinkers. It's just who we are. This is the culture. A culture is not all the same for every individual and every personality type. And some people will be motivated to do the 50,000, but many of my peers that are just here for my weekly paycheck, we want our rewards to be immediate because we know in 10 weeks we may not be here and we may be working someplace else. It's just a different perspective.
Okay, let's do this. So, why don't we do this? Let me go with the manager and talk with the ELT. And let's do for you to know uh, what is in the other side of the coin. There might be some stuff that you might not know, But maybe if we could provide with the information for you to understand and maybe to foster some questions, we could answer that. And then you will know. Maybe you will understand. Maybe you won't. Maybe there will be more doubts or not. But at least I had the willingness of seeing what could be told that is not confidential for you
Hmm.
to understand. Would that suffice?
It's helpful. It's helpful to understand that, and that may change my perspective. But there are employees in the workforce, right, that are sometimes motivated by very long-term things. I'm going to get promoted. I want to get to the next level. I want to keep getting promoted. And so they would maybe work to produce the 50,000 widgets to get recognized. But there's also a lot of people in that employment pyramid, right? Lots and lots of people down at the worker level, few people at the manager level, only a few at the executive leadership team, right? So in that pyramid, I'm down here at the bottom, and I just want my paycheck every week. So the reward
But
system's got to kind of match my view of my day-to-day life, my week-to-week life on my paycheck.
I know. And I will give you an analogy. I know that you like to play basketball on weekends with your teammates because you have a team of the company and it's like a friend, etc. You're when you play a match versus another other team is you versus the other ones. So what you want to do is winning. And winning, it's not only based on how many points you to do, how many blocks you to have, how many assistants. It is also as the team. The team, as a sports team, is trying to win the match versus the other. We at the company are the same. We have individual players, which are ICs and managers as well, which we are a team and we're trying to beat other teams, which are our competition. So, yes, in this pyramid, there has to be a coach, will be at the highest level of the pyramid, but there will be players who will be at bench or at the court, which are the lower base of this pyramid. So if you and I want to not only work to be winning against the other teams, because it is not only competition, it is the goals that we set for ourselves, because there are many things surrounding this company, many dreams, there are many, yes, you mentioned people who are thinking in the long term, but also people who are thinking in the short term. I require my money daily because I work daily and I live, excuse me, daily. So I require to do that. So I think that if you see this in a sports team's analogy, that company were trying to win matches against competition, against many different factors, the market, etc. But I don't want you to feel overwhelmed with this. Let me go with the management and see what we could share with you. And maybe if you feel comfortable and convinced, you could spread the word with your teammates. Would this work?
It's a reasonable thing to try.
Great. Let's do it. Um,
It's not easy to convince a stubborn employee, is it?
oh, man, and you caught me off guard when you did this. And I say,
And that's what happens, and I think humane leaders need to realize that sometimes your strategy and what you think might work right away sometimes doesn't work right away. And we've got to try and think about, well, not everybody thinks about this problem the same way. And even a team of 16, you might have 16 different perspectives on how we're going to motivate people to go beyond this goal. For some of them, the long-term incentive and thinking about the growth of the company is going to help, because some of those team members want to get promoted. They want to become supervisors and a district manager and eventually a marketing vice president. But there's going to be other ones who nope, Don't want a promotion. I want to come in at 8 o'clock. I want to punch the clock. I want to do my time. At the end of the day, I want to turn around, punch out the clock, and leave. And I want to do that for 35 years.
Yes, because
It's not
people
it's not you
actually,
or me, but that is a perspective that some employees have.
yes, not everybody wants to rise. Maybe people are happy where they are. You know, I can see the fights that are at the highest level of the pyramid. Why would I want that? I'm a mild guy. I'm a quiet guy who doesn't fight. So I'd rather be in this level. I understand it's it's good for everybody because everybody is different. But yes, and I think that humiliator doesn't have to punish the team members who are not going to be above, but it has to make probably it's not to make them understand, but to know what's going on. Because when you are, as I mentioned, in the side, one side of a coin, it's perfect. I'm seeing my things great, but you have to see the whole enchilada to understand this,
Well,
you
and
know?
and 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 try and see what are the specific things that your influencers within the team, is there some key things that maybe they don't know about, like you said. So maybe we need to share some more of the business plan that maybe hasn't been shared with them. Maybe for whatever reason they just don't aren't aware, right? So what are those influencers influenced by? What motivates them? What motivated them to go to those first monetary rewards? And then what motivates them past that? And that is a very individual kind of decision the humane leader has to make. Which influencers will they try and influence? What are the key things that that motivate them to get to those first monetary rewards? And if there's no more monetary rewards, what would motivate them to do more? And sometimes the answer is going to be there's nothing. They're so focused on money, there's nothing. And if they're still your top performer, sometimes you just got to accept that look, they're going to work and get to 30,000 and they're not going to do 30,000 in one widgets. You just got to figure out, is it worth it or not? If you lose that influencer, then does the whole team get stuck at 25,000? Then you keep the influencer, right? So
Yeah.
it's a difficult challenge. I don't know for sure that I have or we've given anybody a perfect recipe for the answer, but I mean, I think I would try and influence people to realize that economics, while the individual hourly worker may not be thinking in terms of the words economics and all that it means in terms of both the success of the company and how much they get paid each week, but somehow you've got to convey to them the overall business needs beyond that monetary reward, that part of that reward is a long term so that you can get a paycheck even if it's just next week's. You got to keep trying to produce. But I would strongly influence the humane leader to go back to leadership to also talk about the reward system, because reward systems with dramatic cliffs historically do produce this same kind of cliff effect of performance. Once you meet all the performance rewards that are available, then performance plateaus. It's just it's human nature for most people. Most, not all, but most.
I know. I know. Great. Man, okay, we're going to end this episode. Uh, it was a nice plot twist that you made, and you didn't mention to me, man.
You do well. You're still the humane leader who's still working. You should be ready for these kinds of wild cards. I'm the relaxed guy. You know.
I know you have to work on a farm, but wow, cool, man. Great.